Hi, and welcome back to the Billy Meyer Books YouTube channel and my personal vlog. The first one was just posted, and I wanted to say thank you to all the people who posted comments, best wishes, and all those types of things. It's really appreciated. This is our second day here. It's Saturday evening now. We finished the passive group meeting earlier today. And this video is specifically for the people who asked questions on the last vlog, the first vlog. So thank you to the people who commented, but also very much thanks to the people who asked questions, so we can keep this sort of dialogue going and have some interaction. It's nice to be able to go back and forth. So the first one is Frank Ortiz 7873, and he asked, is it true that the creation energy that enlivens us does not become aware of itself until it's merging with creation? First, Frank, thank you so much for the question. Awareness, and maybe there could be a misunderstanding on the term, but awareness and thinking and feeling and emotions, everything that takes place in our material consciousness, is part of the material world. It's not part of the creation energy or spirit. Spirit is the old word. The piece that lives on within us, that's the old term. So the new term and the more correct term that has to be corrected, we use now creation energy. So that's the one you used. I just wanted to make sure for people who are watching for the first time, we're talking about spirit, or the internal part of us that continues on after death. The creation energy part doesn't have a consciousness like we think. Like we know that we're here, our awareness that we're here, or we're thinking about something tomorrow or the next day, or we have feelings or emotions or any of those things. Those are all part of the material consciousness and the material life, and don't take place in the spiritual side. So there wouldn't be an awareness, there wouldn't be that type of thinking or that type of processing with the creation energy. So on that part of your answer, it would not need to gain some awareness when it becomes one with creation. And for those of you who are new, our spirit forms go through a series of material lives. So after the life that we're in now, our body dies and the spirit goes to the other side, or the death state, spends a certain amount of time, and then reincarnates into a new body with a new personality, everything brand new, no burden, no guilt or no karma from the previous life. It's completely unburdened and new. So this is the process that takes place. So after this, after many millions of years, after the spirit form has gone through these incarnations and become connected with the body over millions and millions of lifetimes, it evolves to a level that it doesn't need the physical body anymore and goes back and becomes one with creation, a spiritual level. The first one called the Arahatasata. So there isn't a process that it would need to become aware of itself or those types of things, thinking or becoming aware. That's something purely on the material side. So thank you, Frank, for that question. Really appreciate it. The next one is from Symmetry 08, and their question is, so no seasonal outside visitors to the center for a while. I'm assuming it was sort of so it's not a complete question, but I'm assuming you're asking, are seasonal visitors to the center not allowed anymore? I think that's the question. If it's not, just correct me in there and I'll answer it again. There are seasonal visitors. There's two possibilities. So the first one is Sunday, every Sunday, during the summer, not in the winter, is Visitors Day. So if you're in the Zurich area and you're in Switzerland and you want to drop by the center for a visit, that can be done on Sunday. That's number one possibility. The second possibility is if you would like to do volunteer work on the farm at the center, it's outdoor work, gardening, sweeping, trimming, those kinds of things. If you want to do that kind of work for a visit, then you need to fill out a form at FIGU.org and reserve a spot. So there's a new rule, a relatively new rule, that they only allow 4 people at the same time for each day. So only 4 people that are volunteering for work can work at the same time, at the same day, 4. So that fills up pretty quick. So, but if you reserve a spot, you can come and do volunteer work. So there's no pay or anything like that, but you get to interact with core group members and other members that come, passive members, patron members, and just general members of the public. You get to come and work alongside them, and it's you always build good, lasting relationships or connections with people who are interested in Billy's writings. So those are the two possibilities. Sunday's Visitors Day, so you can drop by and ask questions or do that type of thing, or you can do some volunteer work, but you have to register for that, which at figu.org. And it fills up pretty quick. So, you want to do that early. I'm sure the next week, especially spring and summer, it's probably full. So that's the new rule. In the past, I've worked with 20 people at one time, but I think it became an organizational issue where it's quite a bit of work just to organize that many people, so they limited it. So that's the answer to your question. And Symmetry 08, thank you for asking it. Really appreciate it. The next question comes from, the next two questions, he wrote two, he or she. Non-Servium 300, you have two in there, so I'll address the first one. What makes the Billy Meyer story stand out today? There are so many accounts of UFO alien sightings and encounters. It would be easy for someone these days to do a lot of research and still not hear about the Billy Meyer story and why it's unique. You're right. That's one of the reasons I started this channel, because it isn't well known. And there's a lot of people working, all over the world to spread the message of Billy's work and his contact with extraterrestrials, and what the teaching he's trying to bring to the earth. So, what makes the Billy Meyer story stand out? There's a couple things. So, number one, it's not belief based. So you can compare that to many other things. I don't want to get into religion and all those kinds of things, but it's not based on belief. It's based on experience and learning about yourself, learning about your thinking and your emotions, and experiencing things in life to determine what's true and what's real and things like that. That's number one. And number two, what distinguishes him are his writings. And, his UFO photos were purposely made in a way to be controversial. The Pleadians let Billy take pictures and photos and video footage, the 8mm video, in a way that couldn't be 100% proven. And they did that because they have such high respect for individual freedoms and freedom of choice. And if they were to land on the White House lawn and prove their existence, that would take away your ability to decide whether it's true or it's not. And because they have such a high regard for that, they don't do that. And they purposely made the photos and the video controversial. It could go either way, that type of thing. So the most important thing, or what really sets it apart, are his writings. So I have another video I did, a previous one. I don't know if you've seen it or not. It's on the books of Billy Meyer, and you can watch that video. And he's written more than 70 books, so 70, more than that. So what distinguishes him? Who else do you know that's written that many books and of that high quality? That distinguishes this case. The Billy Meyer experience is his writings. And so I have a question back for you, Non-Servium 300. Have you read a book written by Billy? Because he's written so many of them. And if you haven't, I would challenge you to pick up one, just one book, and read it and see why it makes the Billy Meyer story stand out today. That would answer your question. And it would be better than me telling you. You would find out through your own personal experience. Now, because he has so many books, which one to start with? There's a lot of choices, but one of the more easier ones, and one of my favorites, is The Way to Live. So if you'd like to start somewhere, pick up one of Billy's books, pick up The Way to Live, and read that, and post down in the comments what you think. And we can go from there. So that was your first question, Non-Servium 300. And then your second question was, so many people these days claim ongoing contact with Pleiadians, and yet I never hear that either the Pleiadians or the present-day humans they are supposedly contacting ever mention Billy. I've read enough of the Billy Meyer material to know that his contacts with the Pleiadian was very profound. Yes, that is correct. It is very profound. The first premise is the Pleiadians. There are no Pleiadians. This was something the Pleadians did in the very beginning. When they first started contacting Billy, Billy said, "Oh, do you come from the Pleadian?" And they said, "Yes, the Pleiadian star system." And they just let that go on. They didn't correct it and say, "No, we really come from a different universe, a completely different universe and a different star system that's called the Pleadian." So that's why they're called that. The reason why they did that is because they're an advanced civilization. They knew that people would claim to have contact. They would see the photos. They would say, "Oh, I'm channeling the Pleiadians. I'm in contact with the Pleiadians." All of these people that are claiming that are either lying or they're confused. So all of the stuff you've read about people channeling or being in contact with Pleiadians isn't true. It's simply not true. Whether it's a lie or whether they're confused in their thinking or something, I don't know which that is. But what I can tell you for sure is there is no life on the Pleiadian stars. They're too hot. I did another video. I think it's called, I'm not sure. I've done so many. It's been a while ago, but I think it's Who Are the Pleiadian? If you look at that one, it explains that the Pleiadian stars that we see in our night sky are hot blue giants. And any planets that may be around them can't support life. They're just too hot and too large, and it's very inhospitable. So anybody that claims that they're in contact with the Pleiadians, if they don't exist, there is no such thing as the Pleiadians. So that should tell you right away. And you can verify that through just our normal science. Go to any good astronomy site and do some research on the Pleiadians that we see here. They're hot blue giants. They can't support life. So that's the answer to your second question, is if somebody's claiming that, it's simply not true. So non-Servium 300, thank you for putting in both of those questions. And then the final question, large question, is from Daniel Flores Calderon. And Daniel, all I can say is thank you so much over the years for all of the good questions that you put in, and I send you a big hug. Sometimes we say that back and forth, a big hug. So I'm giving you a big hug. So I also know you're a Spanish speaker and you use a translator. So it's sometimes difficult for us to communicate, but I'll read your question and I'll try to extract the best that I can from it. And if I've missed it, if I misunderstood, just write down in the comments, recorrect it, and I'll answer it again. I'll be here for a little while and I'll be answering questions essentially live, soon after you put them in there for the next couple of weeks. So, okay, your question. I understand that thoughts and feelings are necessary for the evolution of our material consciousness. However, I believe that in order to be connected with our being, or our creation energy consciousness, spirit, it would be advisable not to have rushed or hasty thoughts and feelings. This is because, as I understand it, the being or the creation energy consciousness does not think or feel. Therefore, I believe that in this way, the essence of our being and creation energy consciousness would naturally and correctly reach the material consciousness through impulses, either as thoughts or feelings. As a result, correct and natural thoughts and feelings would be created from our essence, allowing us to evolve properly and in connection with our creation energy consciousness, spirit, and thus in unity and alignment with the natural laws and recommendations of creation. Is my understanding correct? Or is it necessary to have incorrect thoughts and feelings as part of our evolution in order to learn from the mistakes or through the laws of opposites? Will you be having interviews with Edward? That would be amazing. Okay, you covered a lot of ground here, so let me step through some of the major points. So our creation energy is always connected to us. It's 100% always connected to us. So there's nothing else that we need to do to be able to establish a connection or maintain the connection. Our creation energy, our spirit, our creation energy that we have in us is constantly always connected with our consciousness. That's the first point. The second point, you asked, is it always advisable not to have rushed thoughts or feelings? Of course, absolutely. Part of the work that we do is controlling our thoughts, which in turn control our feelings and emotions. So first, I know you're an experienced, knowledgeable person. Thoughts begin everything. So first the thinking starts, and then from the thinking, feelings develop. We have feelings based on the thinking, and then after that, emotions can develop from that. And then, of course, after that, actions and then, things like that, they continue to go on. I don't want to go into a deep hole there, but it's important not to have rushed thoughts or feelings. We learn to control our thoughts. And if we have thoughts that we don't like, we learn to deal with them and turn them off and not deal with them anymore. You may or may not have read a book. Billy has a great book right on this subject. It's called Might of the Thoughts. And it's in English. It's in English and German. Yeah, you probably don't have one in Spanish, but it is available in either of those two languages, and it will answer all your questions about thinking and those types of things. So that point. And then, yes, you are correct. Our creation energy does not have thoughts or feelings. It just doesn't take place. Thoughts and feelings take place only in the material consciousness, in our thinking, in our body, in our brain right now. That's only where that takes place. Thinking and thoughts and feelings and stuff does not take place in the creation energy. The creation energy uses thinking and feeling and thoughts as a source for evolution. It's a process that goes on, and it gathers wisdom from that. That's how that works. So impulses, we should correct that, because you said impulses as thoughts or feelings. So impulses is defined in the Goblet of the Truth as something goes in and something develops. So it's not a thought or a feeling, but it's a process. It's an evolutionary process, Billy's term impulses, that an impulse will come, something goes in and then something develops. So an impulse is that. So it's not a thought or a feeling. So I just wanted to correct that. And it could be a misunderstanding from the translation. I'm not really sure, but I just wanted to clarify that. And then towards the end, you asked, is it necessary to have incorrect thoughts and feelings for evolution in order to learn? Absolutely. Because if you don't have incorrect thoughts and incorrect feelings, how would you know what the right way is? I mean, it's to learn from our mistakes and to learn from our improper thinking and to have emotional tirades and feelings that aren't really justified. We don't know where they come from. All of those things are a possibility for us to learn from and learn how to correct that and learn how to change that. So yes, it is absolutely necessary to have incorrect thoughts, feelings, and emotions so we can see what's wrong and correct those. And that is the evolutionary path. So you were absolutely right on that. We need that to learn. And then at the end, no, I will not be interviewing Billy. Billy hates that. He does not like to be interviewed. He really despises it. Billy doesn't want to be a guru. He doesn't want to be on TV and do all that kind of stuff. He just wants to write and deliver the teachings to the people of Earth, in collaboration with the Pleadians. That's what he wants to do. And, he just doesn't like it. He doesn't like to do. I'm not going to ask him because I already know he doesn't like it. So no, I won't be interviewing him. But I will be interviewing 12 passive members. I interviewed one tonight, and I'll be interviewing 4 tomorrow, and then Monday like 7 or 8. And then I'll also be interviewing some core group members the second week, not this week, but the week after. And then I'll also be doing some videos with Vivian. I think you probably know Vivian. She's done several videos on the channel, really good videos. Her and I have planned to do 18 new topics, 18 new videos beginning on Tuesday. So we'll have a lot of content coming forward. So anyway, thank you so much, Daniel, for your question. And thank you everybody who wrote questions, and thank you to everybody who made comments and things like that. I really appreciate it. If you have more questions, as I make more vlogs, put them in there and I'll do more videos like this answering your questions, and we'll go on from there. Thank you again for being a subscriber and a participant at the Billy Meyer Books YouTube channel, and we'll see you in the next video.